My name is Sheri Long, and I guess my name, because I had to have it for my bank account, would be Sheri Long Pilates. Not really anything creative, but it's just kind of me. And
It
I'm in my
works.
studio. My studio is in my backyard of my house,
Okay.
and the commute is awesome. And yeah, so that's
Nice.
me.
How big is your studio, your backyard studio?
I have two reformers. I
Hmm.
have a Cadillac. I have a skeleton. I have
There
the
you go.
ladder barrel. I have a big screen TV now so I can teach.
Yes, broadcast
It's
center.
it's perfect. Lots of natural light. It's a happy place. It's my happy
Nice.
place, totally.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what's your connection with John Gary and John Gary TV and all that?
So, John and I met probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I don't know.
Mhm.
But we met kind of, I mean, I had followed him for a long time. And I met him at a conference in Brazil, and we
Okay.
just connected immediately, had a great time together. I really respect him as a teacher, and we just stayed connected. And
Hmm.
then he asked if I would be interested in coming on to his team, and I said, of course, and then didn't really hear anything for a while. So I thought, okay,
Yes, yes.
whatever.
Hmm.
And then with the pandemic and all of that, and all our lives changed unbelievably. I got an email one morning and it said the lockdown is lifting up. When can you come and film? And I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So it's been really a nice experience, I have to say. Positive,
Yes.
supportive. Um, I was with an educational program for 12 years,
Hmm.
and that ended one day, and this started pretty much a couple days later. So,
Wow. Okay.
it's funny how things happen. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
When you're open for opportunities too, right? Like that's the other part. If you're kind of not really open to that, then those things don't fall in your lap sometimes too, right? So,
They don't fall in your lap, but also I think that you're forced or encouraged by yourself to be
mhm.
you, to be me. So I
Yes.
have to say, for me, that experience has allowed me to be me. And
Yes.
it's pretty it can be daunting at times, but it's
Mhm.
also freeing at times.
Yes.
And I was a faculty for Bassi Pilates, which I really loved for 12
Hmm.
years, and I respect that education. But I
Yes.
also love now just teaching. I don't have to test, I don't have to judge, and I'm
Yes.
neither of those. I'm a teacher, I just want to teach. And
Yes.
so this these 8 months where we are, for me, has been life changing for all of us, but for
Yes.
me personally, life changing as a person and a teacher.
So
Really
what,
have.
what would you say then, Sherry, is like your biggest message to yourself through this time?
Uh, Trust myself.
Mm.
Um, yeah, as many, I'm come from the dance world, and many of my dancer friends will agree with this. We are always searching for perfection. We're always
Hmm.
searching for a visual, what it is supposed to look like. Um, Choreography we can copy,
Yes.
and I, in my time now as an older teacher, I'm going to be 60 soon. Damn.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll get past it. Um, I,
The fact that
I,
you say it is tells me that you're okay with it.
what am I going to do? Right?
Right. Right.
Down here, I
What are
have
your
to
options,
still
really?
get into a teaser, it's all
Yeah.
good. But
Yes.
I want to teach that it's okay to mess up. It's good to mess up.
Hmm.
That and when I teach now, it's not about what it looks like. It's about what it feels like. It's about what it
Yes.
is. It's
Yes.
about the timing, not the end result. And
Hmm.
I know I sound like I'm on a soapbox, but I feel that way. I want everybody to feel like they can totally mess up the twist, because
Yes.
that's part of it,
Yes. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. take it apart,
Absolutely.
and then you learn it. And sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And no
Right.
matter where we are in this Pilates journey, that's what it's about. It's just about learning and sharing, and the other stuff I I stay away from.
Yes. I love how you're saying though, like as a dancer, you're looking for that choreography. And the irony is that our life doesn't give us that choreography for us to follow,
No. And if
right?
we're following choreography, we're copying. And
Right.
we shouldn't have to copy.
Hmm.
It's not, it's going to look different on you than it does me. We're different bodies, we're different souls, we come from different places. So it's going to look a little different, but it can still
Yes.
be correct. And that's
Yes.
so important. And I always think it's like being, and I say this a lot, it's like being a car mechanic. And as
Hmm.
teachers, we have to take that exercise apart, like taking an engine apart,
Yes.
and we figure it out, and then we put it back in, and there
Hmm.
you have it. And that's
Yes.
kind of how I teach. Just take it apart.
Yeah, absolutely. But to be able to take it apart, you have to understand some of the fundamentals,
Totally. Yeah.
right? So like, you know, in like so whatever type of engine it is, we understand that there's certain fundamentals to how it's supposed to feel or how it's supposed to um, work in general, right? So
True.
that's why I keep coming back to understanding the why and understanding the components of something, right? So you can break it down or you can build it back up. You can progress or regress an exercise and all those different the flow around it
Mm-hmm.
is so much more important than having an order memorized. As much as it's neat to have the order memorized for different reasons, but like to
I agree.
understand the fundamentals, right?
I think also the intention, and I say this a lot. What do you
Hmm.
want from this movement? What are you
Yes.
trying to get? What does your body want from this? And I kind of start there. What do I want
Hmm.
from it? What do I need from it? Because
Yes.
sometimes it's different.
From the same
And
exercise, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, as deep as we think this work is, it can also be fun. We can laugh,
Yes.
we can
Yeah.
smile, we can enjoy
Hmm.
it. It doesn't have to be boom, 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 boom. In
Yes.
life, sometimes we have to be that way. Not in
Oh yeah.
Pilates. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy it. Let's smile while we're doing it. And I don't always
Yes.
smile, and people go, "Wow, sometimes you're serious." It's usually because I'm thinking about it. I'm going
Hmm.
through the
Hmm.
process. I'm trying to feel it out in my body and explore it, and then I can teach it better. I can share it
Better.
with others.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's so funny that you say it that way because being a teacher, we have that hat on so much. I've found it just really refreshing over the last little while. Like my wife is in the thread here. We've been going to this boxing class,
Oh,
and so it's like 9 round. It's like a boxing fitness class, and it's so refreshing, Sherry, to be able to walk into a class and not be responsible for the human beings in the
oh,
class.
yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean?
I
Like
love it.
where you can just go and
Oh,
just dial in. And I recognize that, like, you know, maybe the first or second week, I get into an exercise and then I hear something I'm like, oh, are they okay? What's going on? Okay.
yeah.
Right. And you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And it's like, oh, no, wait, that's someone else's client. Like, I can just be here for a moment.
Yeah.
So yes, there's times that we work and we listen to our bodies and explore for this for the sake of getting our workout, but then also thinking about how we can enhance it for the next person we're teaching. But then there's also something to be said for just moving,
Just being.
just
Just being.
being.
I have to say, I give myself credit because I'm pretty good at that, because I've
Yes.
always in my career taken classes, whether it was dance
Hmm.
classes, other Pilates teachers. I've always done that.
Hmm.
And I take yoga a lot. And
Okay.
I remember a teacher saying, think with a beginner's mind. And when I
Yes.
go into any class, I'm taking a class right now, a Pilates mat class once a week. It's a classical because I don't know a lot about classical.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
loving it. I'm loving this teacher. She's awesome. Her name's Kira Lamb. I just love her. And every
Nice.
Sunday morning at 7 a.m. my time,
Yeah.
I I'm there as a student, and
Yes.
I can take my teacher hat off and just
Hmm.
be. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that's one of my favorite things. That's like going to
Yeah.
Disneyland for me.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well said. So have you taken recently any like new sports or any new kind of disciplines or something like that just to kind of go at it where there's no connection to Pilates or no connection to yoga? Like take a
Um,
Olympic lifting class or like a jump rope class or something completely different.
well, I'm not really a thrill seeker.
Okay.
I,
So no
I
parachuting this week?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
My big sport is I walk early in the
Oh,
morning when it's still dark,
life
and
on the edge,
I
yes.
listen to crazy talk radio. I have two favorite shows I listen to,
Hmm.
or I listen to music, which is my church.
Hmm.
Music is my church, and
Yes.
I tried bicycling for a while, and I got into a bike accident. So my next
Oh, man.
bike will be either a three wheeler
Right.
or I'll stick to the spin bike. But I don't know. I play it safe, Martin. I have to admit. You know,
Yes.
I
That's
applaud
awesome.
you and your wife for doing the boxing. I tried it once, and I just, I just didn't have what it takes.
It's so funny. For those of you who are watching, just in the comment section, I'd love to hear for you Pilates people specifically, have you taken up a new sport lately or a new type of workout modality? And the reason why I ask this too, Sherry, is because like I've had personal trainers come on the show and they talk about the fact that we sometimes silo off Pilates like it's separate when it's all movement,
Totally.
right? So if you're in a big box gym, like you have a beautiful studio in your space and that's amazing, but like say in a big box gym where they have a Pilates studio in the corner, a trainer might say, "Oh well, oh your back hurts. Well, you should do Pilates over there." Or you have this, oh, maybe you need to work on your flexibility. You should go to the yoga people over there.
Hmm.
Instead of us thinking like how all of these things are integrated into movement, and it may be some Pilates, and it may be some strength training, resistance training, and it may be some yoga, and it may be whatever it is, right? So
Right.
um, I love when we can start to think about Pilates as part of the broader dialogue about fitness in general. Cecile saying yes, Bulgarian bags with Chris Robinson. That's amazing. I've taken everything. Just don't stop. Of course, nice.
I do think, it's functional movement. So when I say I
Functional
do
movement.
Pilates, that
Yes.
doesn't mean I don't have my 10-pound weights. Well, they're
Hmm.
actually 8 pounds, but I'll lie. And I'm going to do bicep curls and I'm going to do
Yes.
squats. So I guess I agree with you totally. It's movement,
It's
whether
movement.
you're standing on a reformer, doing a bicep curl, or standing in a gym.
Hmm.
Movement is movement. And I love to incorporate strength training. One of my favorite populations is the elderly. I kind
Okay.
of feel like it's my responsibility because we're all going to be there someday. And
Hmm.
I need to, or my responsibility is to help keep their quality of life as it
Yes.
be. So, I can't have an elderly person laying down for an hour. They're already good at that. And I tell them that. You got the laying down.
Yeah, you nailed that already.
And yeah, we're good at that. And we're
Yes.
all going to be laying down at some point in our journey. So,
Yes.
it's not normal Pilates, but I'll do an hour of standing up and balance and strength work. So
Hmm.
I guess I just think of Pilates as movement and I just
Yes.
put in what I feel I need or what my
Perfect.
client needs. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I think Joe would have done it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
Like,
so. I've seen,
yeah.
pictures. He was in the snow with his underwear. He was doing
Right.
all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those.
Movement is movement.
Yes, exactly. I'm not feeling those Pilates briefs, but
Right.
yeah. But yeah, you see it in the studio, like he'd have like gymnastic rings or like there'd be a punching bag. They're like there's different stuff, right? It's not just like, oh, there's a reformer and ladder barrel. Like there's everything.
And it's all the same. I grew up in Los Angeles and I remember going to a gym because I had an uncle that went to a gym. And at that time, gyms were not like they are now. They were just
Mhm.
clang rings, like you say, and
Yes.
big weights. And but it really isn't that different now. We just have more
Mm-mm.
sophisticated equipment, but we're
Totally
still
agree.
doing the same moves.
Yes, exactly. There's a few comments here. Just don't stop says Pilates gives me the strength to do all those other things. That's exactly it. And I've shifted my mindset to think about it that way too, where I do Pilates all week, teaching clients my own workouts and stuff. Saturday morning is when I get to punch something. Like Saturday morning is when I get to apply all this mobility and strength and shoulder mobility and core rotational power. Like that's when I get to apply it. So like it's my Pilates is for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and much like with the elderly like population, like the Pilates is for something. It's not
Yes.
just Pilates. We're not training to be better at Pilates.
No. But in I admit I just get a high from playing in my studio, and
Same.
I
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm an addict. I admit it. And I turn on my music and I pick music that I love for that day, and it's makes me happy to explore it. So
Hmm.
I know.
It's
One
great.
dimensional, one dimensional.
No, I mean that's awesome. I mean that's exactly it. I mean, but like it makes you ready to do everything else, right?
Mm,
Like I mean,
totally. I'm healthy and I'm strong and I can do what I need to do. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
Keeps me sane.
Uh, absolutely. And yeah, and we don't talk enough about that sanity piece either.
Yeah. Especially for, now the way everything is, everybody kind of had to find something,
Hmm.
or we'd go crazy. We all had to find something. And for me, I had to find something I could hang on to, something that
Yes.
gives us structure. For those
Hmm.
crave structure. I like structure. I always have. And when I don't have it in my life, it's not a good thing.
Hmm.
And I'm one of those people. So having a place to come to gave me that. I'm here all day as if I have clients. I have them on virtual now. But
Hmm.
it everybody needs to have that place where they feel safe.
Yes.
And for me, my studio made me feel safe. There could be a
Hmm.
nuclear war outside, and I probably wouldn't know it because I'm in my
You're in your little safe space.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
you know.
That and there's a what's the word I'm looking for? I've used the word cadence, routine. There's something about just that habit of doing that where it's your
It's your thing.
yeah, it's just your sure thing. Like that's right.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah.
thing. And people think I'm crazy,
Yeah.
but it makes me happy. And
Yes.
I think because I'm happier now teaching than I've been teaching since I was 17, not Pilates, but
Hmm.
movement. I'm
Yes.
probably happier now teaching because I think it means more to me.
Yes.
And sharing it this way means more than it's ever meant. And I get
That's
really
beautiful.
affected by it because it gives me such joy to maybe
Hmm.
make somebody feel a little bit better, at
Yes.
a crazy time,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
for an hour.
I know.
Yeah, we have so much we can offer, and I think it's important that we do our parts for others.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't take it lightly at all. I think it's such an honor and a privilege,
Yeah,
to be able to think we've invested so much time in learning and being so dedicated to our craft and to explore it within our body and then to hand that off to somebody and to see what that can do in their life is just it's a small miracle, really.
it
Like, I mean,
really is. And for right now, I'm working with mostly teachers.
mhm.
I traveled a lot for the last 12 years, usually 3 to 7 countries a year. And
Wow, yeah, yeah.
and I'm really thankful for it. And I met so many people, and now I get to see them again. And
Hmm.
for those of us that have a studio that we can still work in or virtually, we're really fortunate. But there's so many teachers out there that can't teach anymore, and I just see it. I see it in their face, and I feel so bad because I am so
Yes.
fortunate. So
Mhm.
if I can just say, life is it's kind of screwed right now for a lot of people, But for this hour, just it'll be there when we're done. But you got this hour just to feel good, just to
Yes.
maybe, I don't want to say escape, but escape for
Escape.
an hour and
Yeah.
just and
Hmm.
challenge in that way. Those
Yes.
challenges will be there later, that other stuff that's really serious. But for this hour, it's theirs.
Yes. Just be here.
Just be here. Yeah. Yeah. So it makes me really happy to be able to offer it.
Hmm. Do you have a favorite piece of apparatus?
Oh, I'm so fickle. They're totally all, I'm so fickle. They're all my favorites. And
Okay.
it depends on my mood. I love the chair. I just bought a new classical chair because
Okay.
yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm actually going to take a chair class today with Chris Robinson, who I've never taken a class from. And
Okay. Yes, you will like that. It will
I'm a
be,
little nervous, but I'm
yeah, so
excited.
you should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yikes. And
No.
I love it all. I love the barrels. I love mat work. Mat work is probably my number one
Yes.
because I feel like that gives me the strength for the other.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So I depends on my day, on my mood, on my body. You know, what does it need today? It needs
What does it need?
power. I'm going to the chair.
Hmm.
Or sometimes I even think, well, the Cadillac, many people find that flowy. How can I make that powerful? How can I make that
Yes.
work out on the Cadillac? Power,
Hmm.
you know,
Yes.
kick, whatever.
Yeah. 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 I'm reading these comments. People just flying through these comments here. Sherry's teaching is life changing.
Oh,
And
makes me happy to
Sherry,
cry. They know how I cry easy. I get all teary eyed. I think,
Sherry, brackets, my mother would train me in Pilates to keep my small muscles strong for water polo.
yeah, I tell you, they changed my life.
I miss you so much as
Oh,
Sakiro.
Sakiko. I love Sakiko is my sweet friend in Japan.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. You know, on a side note, I grew up in a situation that wasn't great. And
Hmm.
for me, teaching always took me away from it. So to this
Yeah.
day, I'm so thankful for everybody that takes from me, whether it was when I was 17 or now. And I
Mm.
never forget that. It means a lot.
Teaching is your refuge.
Teaching is everything.
Yeah.
Everything to me. I mean, I have a great family, believe me. What they put up with, I'm kind of a handful, as you might be able to figure that out. I'm kind of like this.
Yes,
It's a roller coaster. And so
I'm figuring that out.
my husband is like this.
Hmm.
And my kids, you know, they all keep me grounded and they are my support system. I have two kids too, like you do.
Hmm.
Yeah. They're
Yeah,
grown up, but they're cool. I have cool kids.
that's very cool.
And two dogs.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Just one big happy family, eh?
Oh, yeah, that's what we are.
Yes. Can you talk a little bit more about, I love your passion for, you're saying like working with the older population. I have a friend who calls them super seniors. Those
Oh, that's
seniors,
awesome.
yeah, because like, especially here in Mississauga, in Ontario, Canada, there's this real emphasis on older adults who are still active, and those are the highest need because you think about those who are like in seniors homes and even down to palliative care, like there's a lot of stuff for people on the decline, but what
Hmm.
about those older adults that are still on
Active.
the rise, still active? And
Yeah.
that actually is a funny little niche that people don't pay attention to.
It's interesting you say that because that is what I found. I started being in I love the elderly. I love to sit and talk to them. I love what they have to offer. I love their stories. I love history, so I love that.
Mhm.
And I the there weren't many workshops offered at that time on the elderly population, but the few I went to had them in supine for a lot of the session. And even though
Yes.
I didn't know what they needed, I really felt that wasn't it. I just knew it in my
Yes.
heart. And so I just started doing research. I had a wonderful friend, and she let me shadow her because she works with the elderly population. So
Hmm.
she's a PT. I just followed her and watched. I had another friend that let me come to her PT studio, and I would sit and watch. I had many elderly clients myself. I did research. I took classes on the elderly. And I just learned that just like anybody else, if we have very low expectations, that's what we're going to get.
That's what they'll get. Yes.
And if we make them feel old, they'll be old.
Hmm.
And so
Preach.
I always say, when you're 103, I'll let you slouch, maybe,
Hmm.
but not until then.
Maybe.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of look at it like that. I do have realistic expectations. One of my favorite clients, his name is Dr. Tim, and I love and adore him. And he told me he was going to buy a taller toilet.
Mm.
They make them. I don't know if they're making
Yes.
in Canada, king size
Yeah.
toilets,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he couldn't squat.
Right.
And I was like blown away. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
No, no. So we have to figure out a way so he can sit on his toilet. So
Right.
things like that, or
Yes.
getting upstairs if they live in a two-story home. So I would
Hmm.
have them just stand up on the box and step down, stand on the box and step down. So it was how to think of what they love to do in their everyday life, whether it's garden, walk their dogs, play
Hmm.
tennis, and mimic those movements.
Yes.
And that's with, what I learned clinically.
Hmm.
That's how I created my workshops. Just what do they need? How they need to be able to squat so they can pick their flowers in their garden.
Yes.
So it's pretty simple, and I keep it simple,
Hmm.
but it helps them live an active lifestyle.
That is amazing.
And I play music that they love. That's a biggie.
Yes.
You
That
know,
is so key.
I played a lot of Frank Sinatra.
There you go. It keeps them moving.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And for those who are watching, I just want to highlight, I don't want to like let it go what you just said a minute ago about how you spent time observing, asking questions, doing research, experimenting, trying stuff on your own clients, you know what I mean? Like listening to their stories,
Oh,
designing your programs according to what they say and what they need, keeping it functional movement, broadening the conversation beyond 100 in your roll up to
mhm.
step ups. And those are all key points that
Yes.
make us better as teachers because it truly is meeting our client where they are.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have one client. She a Japanese woman. I adore her. Little Spitfire. She would go hiking and boogie boarding, and in her 80s, and she suffered a massive stroke,
Oh,
and
yeah.
now cannot walk. And so I had to take an 80-year-old that could do teasers like nobody's business to not being able to walk on her own. And
Oh,
that
boy.
that has been crazy for me to experience. But her needs are going to change. And when we're working with the elderly, you'll see somebody that you have for 15 years, and their needs 15 years ago are different than they are today. So
Yes.
we need to evolve with them and
Hmm.
remember that, when they're 70, it's going to be different than when they were 50, just as we are with our bodies. I don't move the same as I did when I was 40.
Right.
So as they're aging, I'm going to age with them and evolve with them.
And just don't stop, just put in there like, oh wow. And I was thinking the exact same thing from the perspective of I didn't think about preparing myself mentally for the fact that this population, well, as with anyone, it can change suddenly. You could have someone who is super hyperactive and then a stroke, and then it's like, okay, well, let's see if we can get this side of your body to move. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, those are like, and it could happen that fast. And how do we stay resilient in our teaching as well so we can be present with them through that journey?
Or understand that they may never be the same again. And
That's a tough one.
that's a tough one, but we need to remember that, yeah, something happens. They may not walk again, or they, have dementia, or they have Parkinson's disease. How can I help them with what they have now? And,
Yes.
and learn, I try to learn as much as I can on these, diseases, things like that, and work with that. Because you have,
Yes.
just like we say with our younger bodies, work with the body in front of you. Well, work with the issue in front of you,
Hmm. Hmm.
whatever that is,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and like you said, sometimes it's more important to listen to them, listen to their stories, even if it's the same story they told me last week, which many times it is. But
Right.
that's okay because I say the same things over and over again. So it's
Right.
payback. But
Right.
all these little things come into play when you're working with the elderly clients.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jeannie King is sharing her. Sherry's helping me through my cancer journey.
One of my dearest friends. Yeah.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
a rock star. She's my rock star.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's I can still think of it too in terms of what you're saying, Sherry. Yes, like yes, we have to train to the body in front of us and treat the body in front of us. Would you still say that we're still running the same play of just celebrating progress, but we have to recalibrate what that success looks like?
Totally. I love how you said it. Success looks different on everybody, and success looks different on every day.
Yes.
And that's for all of us. I think that
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
goes back to the visual. We get stuck in what we think it needs to look like. Success doesn't look like it doesn't look like anything specific.
Specific.
Success looks one way on you and it looks one way on me, but we can all be
Mhm.
successful at the movement or whatever it is we're trying to achieve,
Yes.
but it's
Yeah.
going to be different.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the questions I was asking you before we got on here was like, being in the fitness industry for the time that you have, you've seen also the trends and the things that we place emphasis on and the way that it flows. I don't know how to say it. I was just like, what do you see happening now? What do you think is going to happen next?
Martin, it's interesting. I really wasn't in the fitness world. I was always in the dance world, and that's
Okay.
different.
Yes.
I actually, when I had my second daughter, I joined a gym. I had never really done a gym. I wasn't a gym person. I was a dance studio person.
Mm.
And so I started taking classes at a gym, and the gym person manager said, "Oh, you'd be great at teaching spin." I was like, I mean, I was one of those, when you teach dance, you don't have a mic, so you yell. So I was one of those people that had a mic and still yelled. And and people would go, "You don't need to yell. You got a mic on." Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And I'd be like, all over the place. So I didn't really know the fitness world that well.
Yeah.
I do think, just in what I see, is we tend to, like, kind of like politics, we tend to go from one end to the other without hanging in the middle.
Yes.
So maybe we need to hang in the middle a little bit more, take a
Hmm.
little bit of this extreme and a little bit of that extreme and blend it.
Yes.
Because being all crazy with all this, I don't know, intense movement, maybe that's a bit much, but then laying down and trying to just feel the movement
Hmm.
mentally is not going to make us stronger either.
Yes.
So let's go in the center,
Yes.
you know?
Well
And for
said.
lifelong, the center might be good. That's going to stay with us longer than either extreme.
Yes.
So that's a
Yeah.
naive answer to the question.
No, that's a perfect answer to the question. And its practical application is getting elderly people off the mat for a whole 60-minute Pilates class.
Yeah, and find what you love to do. Not everybody's going to want to do Pilates. I really enjoyed, like, step class. That was like my jam. I loved that. Oh gosh, that kicking and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I loved that, and I loved spin.
Hmm.
But for me, it was always about the music, and I think that's where I would just make
Yes.
the killer playlists, and
You
that's
sound
where
like my wife.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that. So I think anything that's going to get you moving is a good thing.
Hmm.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got a shout out for step classes there. Too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is so good. Do you have any more stuff coming up with John Gary?
As of now, so I was just there last week,
Hmm.
and saw a little bit of snow. I got all excited. I'm from LA, so
LA,
we
yes.
don't we don't see a lot of snow.
Yes.
Um, Maybe probably spring.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I'll go back and film. I go and I film 20 workouts in five
Okay.
days. So
Oof.
it's yeah, it's busy. It's busy,
Yes.
but it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it, and he's great to work for. He's very positive. I mean, you've spoken with him. He's a
Yes.
lot of fun.
Yes. Well, it's evident that you have that it factor.
Oh, I don't. I just do my thing, and if somebody likes it, that's awesome.
Yes, that is the it factor because if you cared, you wouldn't just do your thing. And if
Yeah.
someone likes it, you know what I'm saying? Like that's exactly it, right?
And I it's interesting you say that, Martin, because I have, and I think this is being honest. When I have tried to be something other than I am, it backfires.
Hmm.
It doesn't work. And I say that to teachers, just be yourself. You're awesome. I don't even like that statement. I'm probably going to get people yelling at me. That statement that says you are enough. I,
Hmm.
I know you're
Hmm.
more than enough. You're awesome. Do
Yes.
if you work hard, you learn your craft, you love it, you're gonna be good. And you
Yes.
may not be good to everybody, but
Hmm.
there's enough. There's a lot of people out there. So you'll
Hmm.
be good to the people that you need to be good for. And
Yes.
and we've got to just, especially, and I probably shouldn't say this on a man's show, but especially women,
Hmm.
power.
Yeah.
The ladies, sorry, Martin, I love men. I'm married to one, but you guys rock. But as women, we need to be strong. You know,
Yes.
we have
Yeah.
a female vice president coming in,
Hmm. Yes.
and I'm very excited about that. So,
Yes.
power to the ladies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. No debate here. One for fear, and two because
Yeah,
you're saying the truth.
exactly.
It's
Yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
maybe at this time in my life, I feel I can be outwardly with that. But
Yes.
as women, we need to be strong. We need to have our voices be heard.
Hmm.
We need to support each other,
Yes.
you know. But when I have not been myself, it has not worked. And
Hmm.
we just need to trust ourselves as teachers, as people. We're good. We're
We
all good.
are.
We just are offering it in a different order, whatever it is.
Hmm.
But we're all good. No,
Yes.
pretty simple.
That's a great way to just close this out. I don't have anything to add to that. That was so well said, Sherry.
Thank you. Well, you're
Yes.
awesome. You're so nice to talk to.
Well, thank you. Likewise. Like,
Yeah, we could have lunch someday.
I'd love that.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody listening to it. It means a lot to me, and we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this.
Yes.
We can do it. Happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thank you to everyone who was watching as well.
Thank you, guys.
Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, Sherry, I'll sign you off here and I'll send you the highlights later. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.